guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I just want to go through some of my plants, particularly the euphorbias, and how to cut it back safely. So these euphorbias have done really well over the winter. They survived really well. I'm quite glad they have survived this winter. As you can see, they've come up, they've got this chartreuse color at the top, and they're starting to flower really well. Absolutely love these euphorbias because they're quite a staple in the garden. As you can see, you know, they're quite, as I said, they're quite a good staple in the garden. Really like the presence of these euphorbias within the garden. But I think for today, what I would like to do is just trim them back a little bit as we're already in spring and see the growth on them. So the reason I'm actually trimming them back initially, as you can see right there on the left side, my hostas are coming up. So as you all know, the hostas come up really big and they come up really strong. And if I trim them back slightly, that would really help the hostas to actually grow quite nicely. I will do a separate videos on the hostas because I actually do need to separate the hostas. I can see here that it's already looking like they're going to be really big hostas. So my next video most likely will be separating the hostas. But for today, what I would like to do is just trim these euphorbias back slightly, just to give them a little bit more like structure, and also just to give the hostas a little bit more room to actually start growing and start breathing essentially. So yeah, I'm quite looking forward to seeing what that would actually look like. Right, so I did give the lawn a bit of a mow. I didn't put it on video, but I did give him a bit of a mow just to get the lawn looking a little bit more trimmer essentially. So yeah, I've done that. So now essentially what I'm going to do is, as you can see, I've put some protective gloves on. One thing that you need to be careful about in terms of the euphorbia, they've got like a white sap that comes out when you actually cut them up. So I've just put my garden gloves on. All I need to do is go right to the bottom of the euphorbia, get it cut, and then you're pretty much done. So yeah, that's pretty much what I'm doing all across all the 4 euphorbias. As I said guys, you need to be careful with the euphorbias because they do have that sap. So you need to make sure, essentially really you need to get plastic gloves. I've just got garden gloves and I'm just kind of taking a risk doing it this way. But what I would suggest is maybe having some plastic gloves and cutting away when you've got plastic gloves on. But so far so good in terms of what I'm actually trying to achieve. Main thing, what I'm doing here is literally just going all the way down to the plant and just chopping off all the old growth essentially, so that the new growth eventually will come up for next year. One thing I will say though as well about euphorbias, they're really quite fast growing plants. I've only really had these plants for about a year or 2 years, and they actually grow quite quickly. So it's important that they're actually trimmed quite regularly so that they maintain their shape. Not only maintain their shape, but also ensure that they're just looking a little bit more trim and a little bit more together, if that makes sense. So as you can see guys, I'm just cutting right at the bottom of that euphorbia, getting it cut and then shaping it as much as I can. As you can see guys, as I've cut my euphorbia, you can see there that my hostas have been released a lot more than what they were. So that's really fantastic for the hostas, as well as just getting my euphorbia trimmed quite nicely on there. Right, so I'm just trying to tidy up those pieces on the euphorbia plant and just making sure they look as tidy as possible. And as you can see, my hosta's looking quite nice on there, which I really like. As I said guys, I am going to do a probably separate video on how to divide hostas, because those hostas look like they are definitely going to grow way more than what they have in the past year or past 2 years. So going on to the second plant here, we're just going to try and do the same thing, and I will be back once I cut all the 4 plants. I'm just getting the rest of the weeds that I can just see just around there, just getting them a bit clear, just making sure I can clear as much of the weeds as I can as possible. Right, so I'm just carrying on now to the third plant. Again, as you can see, just cutting it right from the bottom and making sure that I actually cut right at the bottom of the plant so that I can just get rid of the old growth essentially to make way for the new growth. Right guys, I think this is my final plant that I'm trying to get pruned. As you can see, I'm carrying on the same way that I did the previous plants, making sure that the bottom is actually just cut right at the correct place, and just making sure I'm just getting it ready for the new growth, as you can see. So yeah, I really love these euphorbia plants. They're really quite nice. I love the color of them, and as I said, they really did well over the winter. So I was quite impressed with that because not all the evergreens actually survive the winter in the UK, but this plant really has, and it looks like it's actually gone from strength to strength. So yeah, really enjoy looking at that plant. Just cutting the rest off, the little bits off, and that will be pretty much done. One thing I will say, guys, is when you use your pruners for the euphorbia, you need to make sure that you cleanse them really well, because as I said previously, that there's sap that comes out of these plants that is really like toxic. So when you do use the pruners, try and use either you're using old pruners that you'll only use for the euphorbia, or otherwise, if you use the pruners that you normally use, please can you make sure that you clean those really thoroughly, just to make sure there isn't any contamination to any other plant that you'll prune in the future as well. So just bear in mind that as well. So yeah, pretty much I'm just finishing off cutting the last euphorbia and making sure that it's as even as possible. And then as you can see, I've released a little bit more space there for the hostas to come up. So yeah, I'm quite enjoying that, and I think that doesn't look too bad at all. Just giving it a little bit of a nice tidy there at the end, and just making sure that it is as even as possible for now. Yeah, so pretty much, yeah, that's done. I'm just gonna do a bit of weeding on there, just making sure everything has just been weeded nicely. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the euphorbias. So guys, really enjoy making sure that my garden is pruned as much as possible anyway, over the springtime coming into the summertime. So guys, this is the end of me pruning all my euphorbias. As you can see, there's quite a lot of rubbish there that I'm just going to put in my recycling bin. Yeah, so that's pretty much it really in terms of pruning the euphorbia. So I'm just going to get all that tidied up nicely and just make sure that it's all lovely. Yeah, but that's pretty much it, guys. Just make sure that you cut your euphorbias nicely, but also most importantly that you cut them really safely. Guys, so I've pretty much done the euphorbias. I just thought when I looked at the euphorbias that top of my garden just needs a bit of a paint. I've decided to paint it in purple. As you can see, I've just had a bit of a paint job going on here. Very spontaneous, but I thought it needed doing anyway, just to get everything looking a bit more cohesive, to be honest, guys. So yeah, as you can see, I just used the same paint that I use normally for the other sides of the garden, just making sure everything just looks absolutely spot on. I do need to buy more grey paint. I think this is the only grey paint I've got left, and there's not much left of it. So I'm just like basically getting it all sorted, and I will replace that paint. But yeah, pretty much getting it all sorted for now. So guys, that is the final bit of my paint job. Just a very spontaneous paint job, but I thought that would look really nice once everything is cut back. So I've painted that in slate grey, as you can see. So yeah, that's pretty much done. I'm not too sure in terms of that cream bit whether I want to paint it grey, but I will see later on in a different video. But for now guys, the euphorbias are looking lovely, and I just thought I'd just get that done quite quickly. So thanks guys for watching. Please like, comment and subscribe to my channel, because that would really help me out.